You know that feeling when you have a burning question, but your mouth just won't open? Today, we're talking about asking questions confidently in English. And trust me, by the end of this chat, you'll feel so much braver about speaking up.
Eva, this hits home for me. I used to sit in meetings just nodding along, pretending I understood everything, when really I was completely lost.
George, you're not alone in this at all. So many English learners tell me they'd rather stay confused than risk asking a question and sounding silly. But here's the thing, staying silent actually makes us feel worse, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And then you spend the whole day worrying about what you missed. I remember once my boss mentioned this important deadline, and I had no idea what he was talking about. But I just smiled and said, okay.
Oh no, what happened with that deadline? Did you figure it out eventually?
Well, I ended up working on the completely wrong project for 2 days. If I had just asked one simple question like, what exactly does deadline cover, I would have saved myself so much stress and embarrassment.
That's such a perfect example of why questions are actually your best friend, not your enemy. When we ask questions, we're not showing weakness, we're showing that we care about understanding and doing things right.
I never thought about it that way. But Eva, what if people think my English isn't good enough? Or what if I ask something obvious that everyone else already knows?
George, let me tell you something that changed my perspective completely. Native speakers ask for clarification all the time. They say things like, sorry, can you repeat that? Or, wait, what did you mean by that part about the budget?
Really? I always assumed everyone else just naturally understood everything the first time.
Not at all. In fact, asking questions shows you're engaged and interested. People actually respect that more than someone who just sits there silently. Think about it. Would you rather work with someone who asks questions or someone who pretends to understand but then makes mistakes?
When you put it like that, I definitely prefer the person who asks questions. It shows they actually care about getting things right.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about some simple patterns you can use. You don't need fancy grammar or complicated sentences. Sometimes the simplest questions are the most effective.
Okay, I'm ready to learn some of these basics I should know. What are the basics I should know?
Great question. See what you did there? You just asked naturally. Some of my favorite simple patterns are, could you explain? What do you mean by? And can you give me an example of that?
Those sound so much easier than what I usually try to construct in my head. I always overthink it and try to make these long, complicated sentences.
Oh, George, overthinking is the enemy of confidence. When you're busy crafting the perfect sentence, the moment passes, and then you feel even more frustrated with yourself.
That's exactly what happens to me. By the time I figure out how to ask my question perfectly, the conversation has already moved on to something completely different.
Right, so let's practice being more spontaneous. When someone says something you don't quite catch, what's the fastest way to ask them to repeat it?
Could I say, sorry, what was that? Or maybe, excuse me, can you say that again?
Perfect. Both of those work beautifully. And notice how natural they sound. You don't need to apologize for your English or explain why you didn't understand.
I do that all the time, though. I always start with, sorry, my English isn't very good, but could you please repeat what you just said because I didn't understand?
I know you mean well, but that long apology actually draws more attention to your language learning than necessary. Just, sorry, what was that? Is confident and to the point.
That makes sense. It's like I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be.
Exactly. And here's another powerful pattern. When someone uses a word or concept you're not familiar with, you can simply say, what's that exactly? Or, I'm not familiar with that term.
Oh, I like that second one. I'm not familiar with that term sounds so much more professional than I don't know what that means.
Yes, and it positions you as someone who wants to learn, not someone who lacks knowledge. There's a big difference in how people perceive those two approaches.
I never realized how much the way we phrase questions affects how people see us. What about when I need to ask follow-up questions? Sometimes I understand the first answer, but then I want to know more details.
Follow-up questions are fantastic for building conversations and showing genuine interest. You can use phrases like, "Can you tell me more about that?" Or "How does that work exactly?" Or "What's your experience with that?"
Those sound really natural. I think my problem is I get so focused on understanding every single word that I forget I can ask for the bigger picture.
That's such a common challenge, George. Sometimes it's better to ask about the main idea first, like, "What's the main point here?" And then dig into the details if you need them.
Actually, that reminds me of something that happened last week. My colleague was explaining this new software, and I got lost in all the technical terms, but I was too embarrassed to interrupt.
What would you do differently now if that situation happened again?
I think I'd say something like, "Hold on, can you give me the basic overview first, and then we can go through the details?"
Perfect. That's exactly the kind of confident question that helps everyone. Your colleague probably would have appreciated knowing you needed a different approach to the explanation.
You know what, Eva? I'm starting to realize that most people actually want to help when you ask questions. They're not judging you, they're trying to make sure you understand.
That's such an important mindset shift, George. Most people feel good when they can help someone understand something better. Questions are actually a gift you give to others, a chance for them to share their knowledge.
I never thought of it as a gift before. That really changes how I feel about asking questions.
And here's something else to remember. In professional settings, asking questions shows initiative and responsibility. Your boss would much rather have you ask for clarification than guess and potentially make costly mistakes.
Like my deadline situation that we talked about earlier. If I had just asked what exactly this deadline includes, I could have saved everyone time and frustration.
Exactly. And in social situations, questions show interest in the other person. When someone tells you about their weekend trip, asking "Where did you stay?" or "What was your favorite part?" keeps the conversation flowing naturally.
I do notice that when I ask questions in casual conversations, people seem more engaged and happier to talk. It's like they appreciate that I'm really listening.
That's because you are really listening, George. Questions are proof that you're paying attention and care about what the other person is saying.
Though asking questions isn't just about getting information, it's also about building relationships and showing respect for others.
Now you're getting it. Every question you ask is an opportunity to connect with someone and learn something new. That's pretty exciting when you think about it that way.
It really is. I'm actually feeling motivated to start asking more questions instead of staying quiet all the time.
That's the spirit, George. Remember, curiosity is more valuable than perfection. People connect with genuine interest much more than flawless grammar.
Curiosity over perfection. I love that phrase. I think I'm going to write that down and remind myself of it before meetings and social events.
Perfect. And here's my challenge for our listeners. Try to ask at least one genuine question every day this week. It could be at work, with friends, or even when you're shopping or traveling.
Yes, and remember that every native speaker asks questions too. You're not doing anything unusual or embarrassing. You're just being human and curious about the world around you.
Beautifully said, George. The more you practice asking questions, the more natural it becomes, and the more confident you'll feel in all your English conversations.
Thanks for this chat, Eva. I feel so much more prepared to speak up and ask what I really want to know.
Thank you too, George, and thank you to everyone listening to English Chats Daily. Keep being curious, keep asking questions, and remember that every conversation is a chance to learn something amazing.